Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and support and well wishes and congratulations on our relocation series. It's legit something that you will relocate, and it's congratulations. It was going to be a bit, I'm like, is that something? Obviously I know where it's coming from because Jackpot. But thank you guys so much for sharing it, for commenting, and for the well wishes. And you guys in Canada, thank you for accepting me into our community. I've met a lot of wonderful, not met physically, but he met a lot of wonderful people. Welcome to Canada, left, right, and center. I'm like, oh, I love my team. You guys are doing well. But thank you guys all so much. So I put a question box on Instagram and I asked you guys to send me questions, and my phone literally blew up. My DM blew up. I'm not an agent, but I'm here for you guys. So this video, I'm going to be sharing our immigration story, when and why we decided to relocate to Canada. There were a lot of that, like, why? You guys were doing well. How do you want to raise your child? Blah, blah, blah. I've answered a couple of questions in another video, but there were some questions that needed a dedicated video, and this one is one of them. And I'm talking too much, so let's just jump right into the video. So let's backtrack to 2018 when I got pregnant with my daughter. And I got pregnant, I'm like, oh yeah, I used my US visa like 3 times. Then the visa I had before it expired, I traveled to the US like 3 times. So it was a case of, I'm just going to do Dropbox and they're just going to give me, and I'm going to fly to the US to give birth. Shocker.
Just gonna.
Shocker. It didn't happen. I think my visa expired, and that was when they now started, you have to, come physically for the interview. At the time I showed up, I was very huge and heavy for some reason with all my work ID and proof of funds and everything. I was rejected. And I was devastated. Twice, actually. I tried again another time. The story remained the same. Then I also applied to Canada and I was denied as well. So long and short of the story, now for Nigeria, I gave birth in Nigeria. And I mean, somebody is watching this video and like, okay, so, but if you're Nigerian, you know that second passport is very key with the way Nigeria is moving. Very key. I wanted that for my children. And I'm like, well, now that this is what we have to make do with. I'm just saying that this was when, for me, even personally, I wasn't under pressure, right? But that was when I started to hear my husband say, babe, do you want to do IELTS? And I'm like, excuse you? What's that? What are we talking about here? And I was like, let's start considering relocating to Canada. And I'm like, okay, why? I was like, obviously, we gave birth to Nigeria. At this point, I was still pregnant. So it was telling me, will you do it? I'm like, okay, let's talk about this once I'm done with this pregnancy. I cannot think of pregnancy and think of IELTS. Looking back, I'm like, what did you think IELTS was? You thought it was one mountain. But that was my excuse at the time. I'm like, let me just give birth when I'm done with this pregnancy and this child has come to the world. We'll revisit this conversation. And I was like, okay, fine, sure, take your time. But that was when I knew that my husband's interest was actually with Nigeria. And guys, my husband that I married, very patriotic citizen of Nigeria. Same with me, like we're those people that when we're dating, we're always saying, so the plans we have, we literally planned our lives around being in Nigeria all along. We never saw this relocation in the picture at the time we were dating, right? So anyway, I gave birth, and for me, the defining moment for me was when I collected my daughter's Nigerian passport. I collected it like this. I opened it like this. I'm like, Soteria Adejumo. Wow, this all. You gotta be kidding me. This is it, like, for real. So I feel like it didn't really dawn on me. That's what I mean. It didn't dawn on me that this was actually the same thing. Like, okay, so this is all that you have, like, and I'm saying that because I know that from the outside people say, oh, you guys are doing well, or you guys seem comfortable in Nigeria. And even though that is true, it is done without hard work. Like, Nigeria is kind of place that you have to literally work so hard. And I'm not saying that working hard is a bad thing. You guys know what I stand for. Laziness is a no-no. But by the time you're working so hard and you see your contemporaries in the West doing like half of what you're doing and making so much more and having better opportunities, and they can think, right? They're not really thinking about electricity, lack of water. They've taken the light. There was a day I literally wanted to film. I think our inverter in the house was bad, and not even I think, yeah, that was the case. And as I wanted to start filming, they took the lights, electricity went off. I literally went to lie down like this with my makeup until 6 p.m. that my estate generator came up. Now, what if we didn't have a generator and things like that? So what I'm saying is, and let's not even address it in this video, there's a lot of fundamental things, basic human rights that are still lacking in Nigeria. As a YouTuber, I upload my videos in Nigeria like 24 hours before. You guys, if I don't start uploading a night before, no video for us at 5 p.m. on Sundays. Do you understand? But anyway, my case was just like, you know what, now that this is what you have, I'm sure God has placed me as a steward in your life for a reason. Now I'm going to film about the spiritual part of relocation. I'm going to bring my sweet pastor husband, you know, so that we can talk about that. This video is not really about the spiritual aspect, right? But best believe we had that on check as well. But I'm just saying, even surface level, I'm like, no, this can't be. Where are they doing the IELTS? Where is it? So long and short, when I got that passport, and my husband had been on board since, like, he started thinking about the future of his children. I'm sure since I was pregnant, he was already thinking about it. So after I put to bed and I got my daughter's passport, I'm like, okay, literally let me do it. And I remember it was last year, 2020. I was still on my maternity leave, like, timing. So in my office, you would have your 4 months maternity leave, and then for the next 6 months you close by 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. depending on when you take a lunch break, right? So I was still on that closing early, you know, parole, when I'm like, I think this is actually a good time, you know, to do this, because I would get home and my nanny would be with my child and I could spare like 2 hours to read and just do it. So I remember it was now last year, January. My maternity leave ended in March of 2020, because I went back to work in September of 2019. So I remember that every time I would get home, late January-ish, I dedicated a whole of 2 weeks. And I think I'm actually saying what I should not be saying in this video, but everything has mixed up. I dedicated a whole of 2 weeks, right, just preparing for my IELTS. And at this point, my husband had not even done IELTS for some reason that I don't know. What happened to do it first? Why no? He wanted me to do it first. I was like, just go and do your IELTS. So I dedicated the whole of 2 weeks, and every time when I would get home by 3, between 3 to 5, I would just study. I used a lot of resources on YouTube. There is a guy, Jay of E2, you know, I used a lot of his resources. I would practice every day, maybe 2 days dedicated to listening, 2 days dedicated to writing, 2 days like that. I was just practicing. And then I remember like 2 days before the exam, I now started basing it on the time. Like, I wasn't practicing just off the, you know, whatever. I was legit practicing as though I was in the exam hall. And so I would be strict with the timing and all of that. And obviously, even though, you know, I would say no, 3 to 5 I would dedicate, there were some days that the mother in me couldn't take it. I'll just close the book and go to my child. Or, you know, maybe she would be in my space and she would. So let's say like major a whole of 1 week was dedicated to it. And yeah, I did IELTS, and my IELTS was pretty easy. And that's why I said, I was like, why did it take me so long? And obviously maybe because I prepared and there's anointing on my head. You know, obviously I did it and it was great. I had a cumulative score of 8. I had 9 in 1. I had 8 in 2, and I had like 7.5 in my writing. Yeah, I had a cumulative of 8. It was fine. So, and because my husband and I am younger, I had to be the primary applicant, right? So I did the primary so I did fashion. Sorry. So at the time I was doing my IELTS, my husband was already doing our West. I actually don't know much about West because he was the one who handled it. While I was at home reading, he was already doing the West. But I think our West was pretty easy too, because both of us schooled in the UK. We have masters and we schooled in the UK. And on the, portal, so there is a crs.com where you can just go and calculate your score hypothetically. So that's not the pool, platform in itself, but that's a place where you can have an idea of what your score is. So on that, we get 15 marks each for having a master's. I remember when I was writing my IELTS, the girl beside me was like, I don't even know what we said. She was like, oh, you have master's? I'm like, yes. My husband and I, she was like, whatever, even if you fail this one, she has done it like 4 times. She's tired. Me, even if I fail it, then my, masters will speak for me. But I still passed it, so that really helped our score. Anyway, when my results were in, my IELTS results came in, it was not my husband's turn to write. And at this time, like I said, he had sorted our West. We're just waiting, for it to come back. And then he booked his own for, I think, first week in February, babe. Yeah, about that first week in February. No, that was when my results came out. So like mid-February, it was definitely mid-February. And I'll come to why. Mid-February, he booked his own, papers. He went to write his own. And to be honest, my husband's preparation was like maybe the whole of 4 days or less. But obviously, he had time. He wasn't breastfeeding and all of that. So it just took like a whole of maybe 4 or 5 hours in 4 days. But was he even up to that? It wasn't, right? I shall know that in the evenings, he would just pack himself in his office space, study. He was writing, we had a challenge with for him. Because I remember being his writing marker. I'm like, no, because I've done it, I know that this is what they're looking for. Long and short of it, he also did it and he got 8 as well. He got 9 in speaking. So I'm always teasing him that when I do English or when I say English and you correct me, that's good because you've proven it. I got 9 in listening, so I'm like, I'm a better listener than you. That's why I told you this and you forgot. So we actually use IELTS to joke inside our marriage. But that's off the topic. Anyway, so he did his own IELTS and the results came back. He had the same score as myself, 8. And IELTS is like, 8 is very good, like, very good. Like, what else do you want? Because I'm not a consultant. Don't go too much into it. But anyway, 8 as a score is very good. And so we both applied, and like I said, our West came back really fast because it was the UK and this was prior to lockdown. Anyway, that's how we applied. End of February, and this was all 2020. End of February, we had applied, we're in the pool, and our score was 478, right? So our score was 478. 479, thank you. Actually, our score was 479. So we were waiting for them to do the next pool and just call us. That's how lockdown came. Premium tears. Actually, nobody cried. But I was worried at some point, and especially all that time that we're at home, every time I will be checking. So there is a Can PR app on the App Store that I downloaded. You can see like the pool every 2 weeks when they will do it and all of that. We're just doing CEC, PMPCs. I'm like, this is not what I want to say. I remember telling my husband, what if they never do it again? What if they say that it's gone? they're not collecting people in Canada again. He just said, don't worry. I'm sure it's because of the, lockdown. The world is just adjusted to COVID. They'll call us gentleman, man of faith, pastor, just giving me wine in Zobo. And to be honest, I think it was July 8th. Yeah, I remember for sure. It was July 8th. We were dealing with COVID. And that is so funny. That was such a light in that period. We're dealing with COVID in our household. The video is here on my YouTube if you want to watch it. And I remember I got that mail that day. In fact, I first seen that, they did a poll and the score was 478. So like, oh my God. Now, bear in mind that the last one they did before that February, the score was on 471. So I'm like, oh, we are even like 9 marks above. Don't worry, we're going to get it. And then they did this. This was March, April, May, June, July, 5 months after waiting. And it was 478. So I'm like, these guys, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. But thankfully, because we're 479, we're even 1 mark ahead of the score. And anyway, they called us that night around like 11 p.m. I checked my email and I'm like, look at the ITAKM name. I was like, are you serious? Oh, finally. Oh. And I was just like, We move. Anyway, so your ITA is your invitation to apply. So this means that your score, your cumulative score, has met the criteria or the score for the time, and they have now invited you to apply. At this point is when they will now give you a list of all the documents that you should submit. At this point is when you have to book and do your medicals. At this point is when you have to do your biometrics and all of that. And for us, because we had applied to come and give birth in Canada, our biometrics was actually updated automatically. However, we still had to show up to just fulfill our righteousness. But now I heard that you don't even have to show up again if your UCI or your unified identification number, whatever, is already in the system. You don't have to show up again. But for us, we still had to show up and just did the thumbprint and all of that. But anyway, it took us a whole of a month, because maybe I'll do another video of the checklist, or I'll still mention it in another video. But we had to do police report as well. So we got, and like I said, we're dealing with COVID, so there wasn't much we could do in that time frame. But thankfully, we needed to book ahead for the medical. So I remember we booked it towards the end of July. So we're like pretty much recovered from COVID. We legit tested before we left the house. So that was when we booked for. And so we did our medicals, we did our police report, we got all our documents, all the work experience thing. We got everything together and we submitted exactly a month after. So we got ITA July 8th and we submitted August 8th. And I'm going to stop here. And the next video, I'm going to be talking about how long it now took. But as you guys can imagine, this is April and we're here already. We landed since February. So it took such a short time, and I'm just going to do that video as well, telling you the things that I believe could have contributed to us getting it in such a short time, between ITA and confirmation of PR, ITA submission rather, and confirmation of PR. But yeah, that's it. That pretty much explains why, when we started processing, why we decided to leave Nigeria. What else did I cover? I remember my husband said I said pulling somewhere. I was supposed to say draw, but it's the passion for me. Excuse that. But yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching again. Thank you for all the well wishes. Watch out for the other series. Watch out for my other vlogs. Throughout the month of April, we're going to be doing back to back everything relocation. Like I said, I'm not an agent. I'm not a certified whatever. We didn't use an agent. But the grace of the Lord is sufficient for us all, and it's Insight Team Solution. So I'm also extending it to you. Better collect it, and if you need to back it up with a prophet offering, let me know. Slide in my DM. But no jokes. That is actually no joke. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Passionate.
I feel like when I'm talking, I'm always in the toughest part of my brain.
100.
So, we even one mark. What?